Okay, this is just a quick video. Somebody asked me, I've just done a video that's uploading to YouTube now on how I take an image that I've already drawn, like for instance this is the one we were talking about, and rather than having to draw it again, because I don't draw real well and it takes me a long time to get something the way I want it, so if I want to reduce it or enlarge it, I've just done a video showing how I do it. That's certainly not the best way to do it probably, but I've just done a video on how I do it. So she wanted to know how to take an image she'd already done and make it smaller or bigger. So I've done a video on that. Now this is how I transfer it to my tea bags or to the ATCs or whatever. And of course there's other ways to do it, but this is how I do it. Now this is the image I've reduced, and I've changed it to grayscale and I printed it out. And so when I want to transfer it to something else, I'll get, okay, so this is a ATC sized card, and what I do is I have a very cheap that I bought in the US. I'm in Australia now, so I have to use an adapter, but I have a very cheap little light box, and I just lay the image, hopefully this is still in camera because I can't see it, it's up above me, but I put the ATC card behind my image and line it up to where I want it to be. And I think that's about right. And then I turn it over, and I use painter's tape because it usually it won't tear my paper or my watercolor paper. So I just tape the image down, and I can't use the light box now because once I put the carbon paper in there you can't see through it anyway. So now we have the ATC card behind the image, and I just got this at the office supply store. It's just carbon paper, and this is one way I do it. And you just slide the carbon paper under it, and I have an old stylus when I used to do a bunch of embossing, and it has a really tiny tip, and I just go around it and trace it, and this is what I get. The only problem with using the carbon paper, graphite paper is better because then you can go back with a kneaded eraser. This is a kneaded putty eraser, and you can just, you know, dab at it and sort of reduce the amount of graphite that you have on the image, so you won't have it showing in your watercolor. But I don't have any more of the graphite carbon paper, so and plus I outline my images, so this isn't a problem for me, but it might be for you if you are just going to do a watercolor and you don't want the lines to show. So if you use the carbon paper you have to do it very lightly, but the other way to do it if you don't want to use the carbon paper is just take your image and a graphite pencil. This is just a regular, wait a minute, no, this one is actually a pastel pencil. This one is charcoal, and this is just a regular drawing pencil with graphite. So you can go over the back of the image and sort of make the back of the image your carbon paper. The only problem with this is, and I do it sometimes, but the only problem with doing it this way is you'll get smudges on your paper, and then you have to go back in with the eraser. Now I also have this Stedler, I don't even know what it's called because the label's torn off, but I have this eraser that I use sometimes too, but the problem with it on watercolor paper is sometimes it disturbs the fiber of the paper, so this kneaded eraser is better. But anyway, you just do this, and when you turn it over and trace with your stylus or whatever you're using to trace with, you can get your image transferred that way without the paper, and it's easier to lighten the lines with the eraser. I just don't do it that way because then I gotta mess with the smudges. I tend to always have smudges on it. So that's how I transfer it, and I'll end that because there was one other thing that she wanted me to show her, and that was how I did the skirt this way with the splashes. So I'm gonna attempt to do it with this smaller image. Excuse me. Hopefully you can still see it when I do it that way, but if not, I can go back and redo the video using a bigger image. But I'll show you how I got the splatters in this in a different video. Thanks for watching. Bye.